All right, I had just done the video where the way WWE is going right now. I think this, as desperate as they are, like I said in the previous audio video, I think in the long run, what they're trying to do is teach us a lesson, and I wouldn't be surprised that if at the end of this whole situation, the Authority, Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns storyline, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose thing, John Cena, Randy Orton deal, that when it's all said and done, or at least to a point that it's close to being done, I wouldn't be surprised, like I said in the audio video, if you have Triple H and Stephanie come out in a kayfabe, work-to-shoot kind of style and say, hey, everything you saw over the past year, we wanted you to see because we wanted to teach you a lesson that, hey, this is a WWE, and you may or may not like what we do, but it's basically best for business, and it's for the future of the business, especially the future of WWE fans. Or something like that. I would not be surprised if they end up pulling something like that. But there's something else that needs to be addressed. A lot of people look at the state of WWE, and pretty much the state of the WWE is not in a good state right now. I mean, you have your most over superstar, Daniel Bryan, out with an injury. Unknown if he's going to be back by Survivor Series or the Rumble. Possibly in between one of those. And on top of this, what do you have as a replacement feud to keep his name out there, to keep his rivalry, his storyline with the Authority alive? You have his wife, Brie Bella, feuding with her sister, Nikki Bella, and somewhat still feuding with Stephanie McMahon. So yeah, you have that to keep the Daniel Bryan Authority storyline relevant. You have someone like Roman Reigns, who's your future main eventer, out with an injury, possibly till Survivor Series. You have one of your top guys that's been with your company for 12 years now, whining and complaining about the position he's currently in. But on the bright side of things, he now has a new schedule that allows him to take the weekends off. Or something like that. Allows him to take the weekends off and not do that many house shows. And then, on top of all that, you have your current WWE champion who's rumored not to come back until the end of January. And the hypocritical thing of this is that's beyond his 30-day reign, but yet you decide to strip the belt off Daniel Bryan. Again, this goes back to my other one where I think they're trying to teach us a lesson. But then we take a look at the state of WWE. And I've talked about this before and I'll talk about it again. The state of the WWE is the fact that they're trapped within this bubble. And this bubble that they're trapped in is so it's not impenetrable, but it's so strong and so solid that even if they try to make a dent in it, or a crack in it, that dent is easily repaired and that crack is easily sealed. And you see, because WWE is stuck in the confines of this bubble, they cannot do what the fans want them to do, what the fans believe they are capable of doing. They can't go out and do certain things that will get people talking. They can't go out and give the fans what they want because they're stuck in this bubble. And it goes back to my last audio video where I said, basically, because they're stuck in this bubble, and like I said, it goes back to my last video, I think that's why they're trying to teach us a lesson. And that lesson is, hey, this is their company. We may not like some of the decisions they make, but it's best for the business from a money standpoint. But besides that, it's not just that point, is it? It's the fact that they're stuck in this bubble. And even if they weren't stuck in this bubble and they were able to do whatever they wanted, I still think, in a sense, like I said, you go back to my last audio video, I still think, in a sense, they'd be trying to teach us a lesson, even if they were out of the confines of this bubble. But here's what I mean by being in the confines of a bubble. This bubble basically is built around the associations, the partnerships that they have with all these different organizations, all these other different promotional deals that they have. It's all this bubble is all built around that. This bubble has sealed WWE inside and has kept it the way it is because of it's the fact that it's been built because of the association with all these organizations. These other promotions, these other organizations have created this bubble to the point that, like I said, WWE puts a dent in it or a crack in it, they're easily sealed. You take a look at the partnership with Mattel. Hello, what is Mattel known for? That's right. They're mostly known for creating Barbie. Now, I'm not saying they haven't created some good WWE figures or replica toy belts. I'm not denying that. I wouldn't be buying some of the toy belts if it wasn't, just to collect. But the point is, because of the association with Mattel, that's one huge portion of this bubble that's keeping them confined from doing more than what they can do. I mean, when they were associated with Jakks Pacific, with the Jakks toy company, they were able to do a lot more. With Mattel, can't do it. And then you got all these other organizations, and some of them are good organizations, don't get me wrong. Some of them have good causes, but still, because of your association with them, the Be a Star campaigns, the anti-bullying rallies, Susan G. Corman, and the list could go on. And again, these are all good organizations with a good purpose, but because of your association with them, they're causing this bubble. Because of your association with them, they have caused this bubble to be the way it is. They have helped build this bubble to contain the WWE. And this is what pisses fans off. I mean, yeah, fans can accept and respect the fact that WWE is supporting a lot of these organizations that I mentioned. But there comes a time and a place where the fans are like, look, we understand you're respecting that. We understand and respect that you support these organizations. But guess what? You could still do that, but at least try to be more than what you were. I mean, when fans look back at the late 90s, they look back at the early to mid 2000s, and they look at two eras of wrestling to where WWE, in a sense, still sponsored, still associated themselves with different organizations like Susan G. Corman and Be a Star, all these other different organizations that had a positive had a positive outlook to them, were created to do great things to help kids and families. And yet, back in those days, they were still able to do what they were doing. They were still able to have an attitude error. They were still able to have a ruthless aggression error. But now, they don't. And again, anytime they try to be edgy in some ways, they got to tone it down. They got to apologize. And your fans are getting sick of it. And it's not just that either. It's not just, it's not just, being confined. It's not just the fact that, it's not just all that this bubble is confining WWE within. It's not just all that. It's the fact that because the WWE is confined within this bubble, it's built from everything they're associated with. From Mattel to all these organizations that, like I said, are good organizations, don't get me wrong. But because they're trapped within the confinement of it, one of the things that fans complain about is you're constantly always getting the same storyline, the same rivalries, almost the same feuds over and over and over again because the WWE is trapped within the confinements of this bubble. And what they need and hope to do, and what they hope the WWE needs to do, is find a way to finally break that bubble. And the only way WWE is going to break that damn bubble is to end a partnership or an association with any one of the organizations that's keeping them in that bubble. And I hate to say it, but I think the best thing they can do is go out and partner with some other toy company that will allow them to be more, that will allow them not only to continue having the figures come out and all that, but allow them, and I mean allow them, to go back to being similar to what they had before and not feel so confined. They can. There is no doubt in my mind. There is no doubt in my mind that they could work something out with Be a Star Susan G. Corman, and all of them. There's no doubt in my mind they could work something out with them saying, hey, we'll still support you guys and all that, but in exchange, we still want to be a little aggressive. We want to go back to what made the fans love us and not hate us. So, to me, there's many ways they can get out of this bubble, but until they do find a way, they're going to be stuck within the confines. And the confines of that bubble, like I said earlier, have been built because of the association with everything that I've talked about. Now, some of you might say, well, the bubble could also be could have been built because of lazy. Yeah, and I'm not denying that either. I mean, WWE wants to go Hollywood in a sense with WWE Studios and have some Hollywood writers that have no idea what wrestling is about. Then yeah, that helps keep them within that confinement of that bubble. It does. I mean, it's like I said earlier. You want to co-promote, you want to get awareness for breast cancer and all that, noticed and talked about, yeah, okay, fine. But if you're going to bring celebrity guest hosts to help out with that, there's a better way of doing it. It's called via video, via satellite, as they like to say. And you don't end up inviting people that the next day come on the show and say, I never really wanted to be there. I mean, if you're going to invite anybody to the show, guess who you should have invited? You should have invited maybe someone like Tamron from the Today Show. Tamron and Al. Maybe invite them. That would have made more sense. But still, you want to take someone like, okay, Hoda probably wouldn't have had a problem because it looks like she was trying to have a bit of a blast. But Kathy Lee, seriously? Seriously? Here's a lady that sort of respects the wrestlers, but not the business. And why? Because of the times on Live with Regis and Kathy Lee. That's why. Just because she respects the wrestlers doesn't mean she respects the business. Doesn't mean she wants to be part of the business in any shape, form, or fashion. I'm just saying. But still, you decided to go in that direction. You couldn't call up Kelly Ripa and Michael Strahan and say, hey, we need you guys here. You couldn't do that? Nope. You see, this is why WWE's stuck in this confinement bubble. A bubble that is causing fans to walk away. Not want to have anything to do with the business anymore. Not have anything to do with WWE. Because of stuff like this that keeps WWE confined. And the only way they're going to be able to break that bubble, and they can break that bubble, is by disassociating themselves with something that's keeping that bubble trapped around them. That's what they need to do. So, let me know what you guys think. And tell me if you agree or not that WWE needs to find a way to disassociate themselves with one or a few things that are keeping them trapped within that bubble. So that way they can break free and be the WWE that I think we all know they can be. Let me know down below. I'll talk to y'all later.